Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Karen, and I am a boomer who identifies as Gen X. And I really loved the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl halftime show. It really was incredible. But I really needed to know more about it because I just knew it was super important and I got certain of the references and I wanted to know more. So I started to do some investigation into it and I found out a lot of super interesting things, not the least of which is that Kendrick Lamar is an absolute genius. I was so amazed at what I've been finding. So here I'm going to go. What I'm doing today is I'm going to demystify the Super Bowl game from or the NFL halftime show from 9:48, that's 9 minutes and 48 seconds, to 10 minutes and 55 seconds. This is my third talk. I know it's not in order. The first two talks I did was on the first minute or so. But I really this particular part really grabbed me and I decided, oh, why do I have to go in order? Why can't I just do random access memory stuff and just go for something that I feel like talking about today? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm talking about this one, which you can also find in a short called Mustard Was on the Beat. And what I'm going to do is link in the description both the full NFL video and the Mustard Was on the Beat short so that you can see both of them. Mustard Was on the Beat gives you pretty much all of what I'm going to be talking about today, except for the first little bit. Okay. I'm doing this because boomers and a lot of Gen Xers didn't like the Super Bowl halftime show. They really complained about it. They didn't understand it, blah, blah, blah. It was all trash, which was crazy. What it is that you guys who look like me and talk like me, just don't know the language. So I want to tell you what the language is so that you can understand it. Because when you understand it, you're going to see that it is genius and you're going to get an appreciation for rap musicians, which is really poetry. And I hope that you're going to stop, look, and listen, like we learned in kindergarten way back in the day, and really don't be so quick to judge. Okay, so I know that Kendrick talks really fast, but what he says is full of symbolism, and this show is full of symbolism. So here we go with a translation by Karen, but not that Karen. Okay? All right. So first off, this it starts out at 9:48 with Uncle Sam. He's talking about the previous song that was played, which I'll analyze later. I think it was a very soft and beautiful song, and and Uncle Sam says, "Well, that's what I'm talking about. That's what America wants from you. Nice and calm. You're almost there. Don't mess it up," he says. Because previously Uncle Sam had complained that Kendrick was too loud and too ghetto. But then he came on with this soft song. And so Uncle Sam is saying, now you're playing the game right. You're giving Americans what they want. Don't ruffle any feathers. Go nice and calm. But then at 10:01, the music tone changes, and Uncle Sam gets a look like, oh no, what are you doing now? You're going to go back to too loud, which is exactly what Kendrick Lamar does. At 10:01, the chorus of girls say, oh no. And then Kendrick says, it's a cultural divide. I'm going to get it on the floor. And then the girls say, you're really about to do it? And they kind of put their arms like this, like daring them. Are you really going to do it? And Kendrick then says, and this is what kills me, which is why I really wanted to do this segment. He says, 40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music. Okay? Now we're going to stop right there. And we're going to talk about how important this is and why this took my breath away. This is just my interpretation. You could have your own, but I think this really makes sense. So hear me out. 40 acres and a mule refers to a key part of the Civil War. It was a part of the special field order that was issued by Union General Sherman on January 16, 1865. In this order, he decreed that the enslaved people who had just been set free were to receive an allotment of land, 40 acres of land, and a mule for each freed familial group, okay? So he then ordered the army, the Union Army, to lead mules and give the mules to each of these families in this agrarian farm effort. The field order by General Sherman provided the confiscation of 400,000 acres of land along the Atlantic coast in South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. And this land of 400,000 acres was divided into parcels of 40 acres each. And this was to settle 18,000 formerly enslaved families and individuals that were already living in the area close by where they had actually farmed these plantations. So the freedmen, former slaves, built houses and cultivated this land. And they proceeded to do this happily. This was America's first effort at repatriation. Isn't that crazy? Way back then, under General Sherman, with the blessings of President Abraham Lincoln. Then President Lincoln was shot. He was assassinated. His successor, Andrew Jackson, was a raging racist, and he stripped the property from the formerly enslaved Black residents across the South and returned the land to the enslavers, to the plantation owners. This is recorded in the Freedmen's Bureau of Records that is in the public archives. Just to let you know, over the last couple of years, public integrity reporters have researched through these Freedmen's Bureau records and actually located 1,250 Black men and women who had been given land as repatriations after the Civil War. They have traced the families that got that land, and they've traced them to their descendants today, just as an aside, just to let you know. So 40 acres and a mule was an American promise to the formerly enslaved Americans to give them land, 40 acres and a mule. The promise turned into a big, fat American lie. Okay, are you getting it now? Kendrick Lamar, as Uncle Sam told him, that's right, you keep it down, keep it quiet and calm, that's what American wants. And then he comes out with saying, it's a cultural divide, I'm going to get it on the floor. The chorus says, are you really about to do it? And he says, 40 acres and a mule, it's bigger than the music. He's telling you now that this halftime show is bigger than the music which he's playing. So listen carefully, okay? Then the chorus says, again, you're really about to do it? And they're kind of like daring him like this. And he says, yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. And the chorus says, they did it like that? And then he comes up and says, like, hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm riding through the back like. Okay? So that portion of this song, from 40 acres and a mule, all the way down to here, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm riding through the back like, that is not in any song that I found. That he put into the Super Bowl performance. From there, he goes into the song Not Like Us, which is like a really controversial and amazing song, which I knew nothing about before I saw the Super Bowl performance. But let me tell you a little bit here. So we just talked about 40 acres and a mule. Then he talks about they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. He's referencing the 40 acres in a game lie that the American system rigged against the Black men and women. And also, he's also talking because he does a lot of doubles. He does a lot of double and triple meanings. He's also talking about the rigging of the game being the entertainment industry. How the award show games or award shows are rigged and all that kind of stuff. But even though they try to rig it, you can't fake influence. You can't fake what people like anyway, okay? You can't stop the people, and that's the influence, all right? So he's getting into now, he's going to go into, while that was like huge, he's going to go into petty because now the first part of this song, Not Like Us, little bit of T here, it's really a diss against Drake. There is a big beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, all right? They don't like each other. Kendrick Lamar does not like Drake, and vice versa. In fact, Drake is suing the record label, which Kendrick, it's a long story. I'm not going to go into all of that part, but I am going to mention it in terms of what happened in the Super Bowl. At times, Kendrick got down and dirty and petty, but there also is within the same song where he's being petty, he's also being very much forward thinking and giving you Easter eggs about other references. So we're going to go through that now, okay? So the song Not Like Us starts mustard on the beat ho, or no, I'm sorry, mustard on the beat bro, okay? So mustard, what is mustard on the beat? What is that? Well, mustard is talking about a guy, he's a rapper called DJ Mustard. And he's actually giving credit to DJ Mustard for collaborating with him on this song. So instead of ripping someone off, he's giving credit right in the song. Mustard is on this beat. That's interesting, I thought. Okay, then the next line is Debo, any rap, he a free throw. So the little used to say, and that was the N word, and I'm not going to say it. I don't think I should, but he says it with an A at the end, okay? A Debo any rap, be a free throw. This Debo, what is Debo? Debo is a reference to the film Friday, where the antagonist is a guy named Debo who's a bully who used his physical power to intimidate and take things. So Debo is internet slang for someone who steals from another. Like they gave, when I looked at the Urban Dictionary, they give a couple of examples, like that bee deboed my shit, okay? So there you go. So a Debo is a bully who steals, okay? So Debo when he rap, he a free throw. What is free throw? Okay, is it basketball or what? Okay, yeah, it's basketball, but free throw in slang is morphed. FT has morphed from TF, and I won't say what the T is, but the F starts with F and rhymes with puck. Okay, so anyway, a free throw is actually an expression of someone who's apparently easy to have sex with. Okay, so Debo, this bully who steals as a rapper, he's also like he's like easy. He's like a bit of a tramp. Okay, so right now he's saying Mustard is on his beat, but there isn't, and there's no he's not doing any cheap tricks about stealing from anybody or bullying anybody, but it's a reference to somebody or somebodies who do bully and steal from other rappers, okay? And the next line says, man down, call an ambulance, tell him breathe, bro. Okay? So an ambulance is actually slang for ambulance, okay? It's from a viral meme that went out in 2010 about it was a meme about two guys fighting, and apparently one of them goes down and he says call an ambulance instead of ambulance. So it became like this really funny meme. So he that's So when he uses and mispronounces a word, you think it's mispronounced, but it's actually not mispronounced at all. It's just that you just don't get what it is. Okay. So man down, call an ambulance, tell him breathe, bro. Okay. Nail them boys to the cross. They walk around like T's. Okay. So he's talking about influence and what happens on the streets, okay? And they walk around like T's. T's refers to toughs. It refers to like people who are like bullies, okay? It's also in the actual lyrics, it says Tizo, and Tizo is actually a rapper. So there's a double meaning there between Tease and Tizo as another rapper, okay? So from there, from there, the camera pans from Kendrick to the dancers on the game board, and these dancers are like walking around and they're like doing their thing, and then it pans, and what he says then is, "What's up with these Draconio?" All right, trying to see Compton. His next sentence is, "What's up with these Draconio trying to see Compton?" Well, Draconio was actually changed from another words, which was jabberoni all, and that's another word that starts with an N that I'm not going to say. Okay, but he changed it. But I want to tell you what the jabberoni meant, and you're going to see the actual words to the lyrics that I put them in the description. Jabberoni refers to a foolish person who, in a wrestling term for it, is someone who loses to an established talent. Like in WW wrestling, it's like the guy who loses to the guy who's everybody's winner, everybody's wonderful, the guy that they expect to win. But he changed it to, "What's up with these Draconio trying to see Compton?" Draconio is actually an adolescent dragon. Okay, so he's referring here. In the original, he was talking about like young thugs who are posing, okay, like that kind of thing. And now he changed it to adolescent dragons. So there you get this reference to an adolescent dragon is someone who is would be a dragon who's not at full force, and they might look fierce on one hand, but then they could look just like like little kids, and they can't actually spit out fire. So what's up with these Draconio trying to see Compton? What's up with these not fully fledged dragon types? They're not really scary, trying to oppose like Compton. Compton being where he's from, a very much of a gang place. So it's about people posing and referencing this gang element that they're actually not. Okay. Um, and so that was, and then it goes back to panning on Kendrick, and he says, back to him again. He says, "The industry can hate me, bump them all in they mama." Okay, so that was of a change from the original words there, because what he originally says is, "The industry can hate me, f them all in the mama." Okay, so he's basically talking about the music industry, um, that he doesn't in the original it was with the F word, rhymes with puck, okay, but here he uses bump. And what is bump? How did he change it? Bump in social media is something that happens when you post a filler into the comments to move a post up to the top of the discussion list. So it's interesting. So if you give someone a bump, in social media language, it means you're actually giving them a lift up. And then there's the other side of what bump is, which is essentially it's like bump someone off, like the old mafioso top. We're gonna bump them off type of thing. Bump is also used for describing a dose of an illegal drug such as cocaine or ketamine. So the industry can hate me, bleep them, or excuse me, the industry can hate me, bump them all in the mama. Okay, so whatever that word bump is, that his original word rhymes with puck. Okay, so Then he says, how many ops you got? I mean, it's too many options. How many ops you got? I mean, it's too many options. What is ops? Well, ops is options, but he already used the word options. Ops is also a word just in slang for opponents or opposition. For example, used in a sentence, it's like you're running from the ops or you're shooting at the ops. So, how many opponents do you really have? How many opponents do you really have? And then he says, I mean, it's too many options. It's a play on words. Very clever, okay? Then he says, I'm finna pass on this body. I'm John Stockton. And then the camera focus moves from him to the game board again. And this is very significant because the game board lands and it shows the both the red, white, and blue dancers all just they were dancing. And when he says, I'm John Stockton, boom, they all go down like chalk figures, like that. Okay, chalk figures like when they're dead and they do the chalk figure around them. So that's what the whole game board looks like, except for a circle of white figures. They're dressed in white costumes, circling around the middle, but everybody else is like just splayed out on the floor, like gone. Okay, so that's really interesting. Which is really a reference to this gang mentality and to the um, the the disregard for human life, okay? But also, when he says he's going to pass on this body, he's John Stockton. This is where we're getting really petty, y'all, because John Stockton here is a reference to Drake as Malone, the guy he's having the beef with, Drake, and this guy named Malone, who used to play with John Stockton, I guess with the Utah Jazz. They used to play basketball. And yeah, it's basketball, right? Is it? I don't know. I think it is. Utah Jazz, is that basketball? Well, you guys will know what I mean. But anyway, this guy Malone, he fathered a child with a 13-year-old girl, okay? So John Stockton, and he played together. So the reference is he's referring to himself as John Stockton and Malone as Drake, okay? And it's an oblique reference to the accusations against Drake, which are currently ongoing now. And so that's the first diss in this segment toward Drake, okay? There's another reference about what John Stockton is too. It's John Stockton is when you pass a potential hookup to a friend. In other words, you make an assist because apparently John Stockton would set things up. Yeah, it must have been basketball then. He'd set things up and make an assist for another player. So if you're going to give someone a John Stockton, you're basically, sliding a girl over to your friend, to your pal. Okay? So there's a double meaning there as well. Okay? Anyway, that's where the music had panned to everybody like chalk figures. And then we're going to go back to panning Kendrick alone. And he says, beat your and hide the bobble if, well, I'm sorry, let me start again. Beat your which is a word that starts with A and ends with SS, okay? Beat your and hide the Bible if God watching. Did I say that right? Beat your and hide the Bible if God watching. Someone gonna pop you out and show again, and that's an N word, okay? Certified boogeyman, I'm the one that upped the score. So this is a 3-sentence stanza. Beat your and hide the Bible if God watching. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show certified boogeyman, I'm the one that upped the score. Okay, what's going on here is, as you know, a boogeyman is a mythical creature from your childhood that frightens children. So here again, he's referring in this stanza, like he did in the last with the John Stockton reference, to the boogeyman being Drake, who's frightened children, because accusations have to do with allegations of Drake's interactions with minors, shall we say. Okay? So, anyway, so certified boogeyman, he's pointing the finger at Drake. Certified boogeyman, you, I'm the one that upped the score. Okay? What he's talking about to up the score is to, in video game terminology, when you up the score, is when you're going to slip in and you're going to video game wise pew pew the enemy in the game. Okay? So here he's slipping into the game because remember, this whole show is based upon this video game imagery. He's slipping into the game and he's targeting the boogeyman, Drake, okay? Figuratively, with a rap, okay? Now then, the next, part of the song is walk him down, whole time. I know he got some hoe in him. Walk him down, whole time. I know he got some hoe in him. Now, walking him down means to escort someone to a lower level when you walk someone down. So here he's saying, Drake, I'm going to walk you down. Oh, by the way, I don't think I mentioned that in the first sentence of the last stanza. Beat your and hide the Bible if God watching. Here's what he's talking about there. I mean, this is a mano a mano against the shadow punching against this Drake boogeyman figure, allegedly, okay, and so he's figuratively beating his behind, okay, that's right. So then here he's walking him down the whole time. And the whole time, I know he says Kendrick knows that this guy, the boogeyman, had some hoe in him. Y'all know what I mean by hoe? Do I have to? You know what I mean. Okay. The next sentence is pull on him, extort, and that was a word that starts with S and rhymes with hit. Okay? Okay. So pull on him, extort, bully the flow on him. Okay? So he's walking him down, he's schooling the boogeyman, and he's saying the boogeyman has a pull on him. A pull in slang, Urban Dictionary, is a firearm. So he's got a pull on him, he's strapped, and he's extorting people, allegedly, allegedly. Okay, it's a song. Bully the flow on him. Well, bully the flow is a hip hop term which refers to specific streets and neighborhoods, activities, or lifestyle. Okay? It's like he's running these streets. Okay? So he's saying boogeyman, allegedly, is strapping, he's extorting people, and he's bullying the streets. He's running the streets and he's owning the streets. Okay? With there you go. Anyway, let's move on. Then he comes on and says, and this part has got so much play. I know you've seen this, and this is so petty. So he says, and he's walking across the stage, and he looks over and he goes, say, Drake. And he looks and he's got this smile on. He's got like this beautiful pearly teeth smile all over. And he says, say, Drake, I hear you like him young. You better not ever go to cell block 1. I mean, anyway, that's actually in the song. And I'm actually going to leave it because this went way over what I wanted to do. I'm going to pick up the next part and we're going to discuss this section that gets real petty, guys, about Drake. All right? Now, before I close, I just want to say he actually is singing line for line, not like us, except for the very first line. He didn't sing in the Super Bowl the very first time. I listened over and over again. I couldn't hear it. The very first line of Not Like Us says, I see dead people. So, wow. So the song is super cool in itself. And that seeing dead people can allude to all kinds of stuff. It can be a shout out to rappers that have died before. We're talking Tupac and Biggie, the real legends in rapping. And And here with that shout out, he's saying he sees them, he feels them, he's connected to them. Okay? That's where I see it because this song is called Not Like Us. All right? So there's a lot of meaning in here. This is super powerful. I hope you got to see some of um, what I thought was very interesting about this song. And I put the transcript in my description of this video because all you Gen Xers and boomers who, even if you look at the transcript on the NFL transcript, it's not actually correct because it's AI generated and it's like lousy. It's like a lousy transcription. I actually had to research all this stuff. So, anyway, but I love doing it. Please do like and subscribe. And I look forward to giving you the next part of this video, of this analysis of the Kendrick Lamar halftime show. Have a great day, and thank you very much for watching. Bye.